Welcome to your 20-minute yoga flow with Sarah. This practice will focus on creating flexibility in the legs, and it's perfect for runners who have been training and want to create that little bit of mobility and flexibility. I'd like you to start in a seated position and take a few minutes to just connect with your breathing. See if you can breathe into your abdomen and just slow the breathing down a little bit, allowing your body to relax, and seeing if you can perhaps get your breath ratio or breath cycle to around the 5-second inhalation and exhalation time. We'll now introduce movement. So placing the hands behind the body and taking the feet wide. We'll begin with 90-90. So you drop your knees to one side and then the other. The trick with this movement is to see if you can get your hip, your knee, and your ankle in a square shape. You can take that knee back a little bit to make it a little bit more challenging, and you can also take your hands off the floor. This is really assisting with your hip mobility, so internal and external rotation. Don't worry if you can't get all the way to the floor. Now, if you like, with this movement, you can place the hands behind the back and move into a twist, engaging the glute of whatever leg's on top. And I really am pressing my fingertips into the floor here, and that's assisting me to move into the twist. Swap over, do the opposite side, knee in line with hip. I'm engaging that top glute. Turning the opposite way, fingertips pressing into the floor, and making sure you're maintaining that relaxed, natural breathing. Now I'd like you to now bring the right ankle in front of the left thigh, and we're going to move it into a seated figure 4. I like to really press my fingertips into the floor, open my chest, and you want to drive that right knee down. So if the knee is really high or towards your body, you're thinking about engaging the right glute and pushing that right knee down. Relax, natural breathing, staying in each position for, at least 30 seconds or so. Now you're going to be feeling the back of the glute, the back of the hamstring in that move. When you're ready, swapping over opposite side. We've got our left ankle, right thigh. I'm driving the left knee down towards the floor, and I'm relaxing the breathing. Mentally, your mental focus should be scanning over the body, and then this is what creates a difference between just stretching and a yoga practice. So you're scanning over the back of the left leg, the hamstring, the glute. We'll now take our legs wide. Now, if this move is difficult for you, you can keep your fingertips behind the body the whole time. You want to press into the fingertips and tilt your pelvis forward, so aiming to get your pelvis in a neutral position. If it is comfortable for you, you could walk the hands forward, but for most people, this is enough to get a nice stretch on the inner thigh muscles, so from the groin out towards the knee. When you're ready, we'll now bring the soles of the feet together. And with this movement, again, you can keep those fingertips placed behind the body and press into them, lift the chest, or you can place the hands on the inside of the feet. If the knees are really high, you can press into them slightly with your hands, but I wouldn't apply too much resistance. Again, relaxed, natural breathing. We'll now bring the knees together, make a long diamond shape with the legs. I'm going to do a roll down, so hands out in front, tilt your pelvis back. Really reach through your fingers, but wiggle them as you come down so you stay relaxed. Now you have to keep your back in that dish shape to make sure you're keeping the front line of body engaged. We'll now reach through the arms, the fingers. Take our arms wide out to a T shape, the palms are up. Ankles together, knees together, and gentle recline twists. Taking the knees from side to side. Using this movement to really focus on creating mobility through the lower back. Also, you must keep your knees together and your ankles together to use the lower part of your body just like a weight to apply force when you're moving through the movement. So when you drop the knees down, it brings that beautiful line of pull through that side of the body, which goes all the way up to the armpit. Now, if you can, you want to try and keep your shoulders in contact with the floor as you move from side to side, but that does require a little bit of thoracic or mobility through the upper back. Once you feel comfortable in those reclined twists, we're now going to make that twist a little bit stronger by crossing the legs over. When you cross your legs over and move into a twist, sometimes you'll have to adjust your pelvis. So you would have seen a few seconds ago, I took my left hip just underneath a little bit more, so my hips are now stacked, and that can really ensure that you're moving into a strong twist through the spinal column, and then you're really targeting that top buttock or glute and the back of the thigh. So relax breath cycles in the position, seeing if you can feel your belly move. When you're ready, swapping over opposite side. Left leg on top. I've adjusted my hips there, taking them over to the left side. So then when I roll onto the side, my right hip will be on top of the left. And sometimes you'll have to do an additional shuffle to really align them, but it's really whatever is comfortable for you. Now, I recently took up running as a new hobby, and that's what inspired me to make this video. So now we're going to take our feet to the outer edges of the mat and perform the 90-90s again, but this time we're in a reclined position. We're lying down our back, so gravity is coming down on us, and this will help to really move into the top quadriceps muscles. So when you're doing this movement now, you'll feel it more as a stretching sensation over the front of the thigh, the front of the hip. Now I'm going to come up into an upright position and just adjust the position of my knee so it's in line with my hip. Then I'm going to go back down and hold in the position. Now that makes it a lot stronger. You can see how tight my front of thigh is because my back is completely off the mat now. So this is a very strong position for me. With these positions, just go to where you feel comfortable. It really is creating mobility, flexibility. It really is a slow burn or slow journey. and you definitely don't want to be creating an injury. So I'm now going to take hold of the ankle, and that makes it even more intense. So again, that's only an option if you feel comfortable in the movement. If your quads are really tight, this won't be accessible for you, and I would probably just stay with the reclined 90-90 variation and don't even worry about adjusting the position of your knee. Rolling to the side, coming up, bringing the knees up, dropping them to the opposite side. You can see here I'm just adjusting my position of that back knee, the one I'm going to target, so that it would be in line with the hip when I come down. When I come down, the knee's not even getting to the floor, so you can see my quad is very, very tight. But I think for myself, both quad and hip flexor is the tighter muscles, but it's going to be different for everyone. I attempted to take hold of the foot, but I think it was a bit too intense there. So I'm just staying in this reclined variation. Always relaxed breathing, slowing the breathing down, getting the belly moving in all directions. So forward, back, out to the sides, up and down, as this will really help to relax your lower back and pelvic floor. As best as I can, when I am practicing yoga, I do try and let my body be supported by the floor and let go of that muscle holding. That is for these kind of reclined postures. So again, feet together, knees together, gentle twist. One of my favorite moves. Bring the knees in towards the chest. Make some circles with your knees, and you can really feel the head of the femur, the head of the thigh bone move around the hip socket in this move, and you can also get that nice gentle flexion and extension of the lower back. Feet to the floor, arms by the side of the body, feet, knees, hip in line. We're setting up for a gentle bridge. So you're going to start by pushing the top of the hips back and just raise your pelvis up so it's in line with your thighs. You don't want to raise too high in a bridge. I think that's the biggest trick, is to not go too high, because then you're going to take it actually into the lower back muscles, and we want to keep it working around the glutes and the hamstrings. Also, another great cue is to focus on the lowering down, lowering upper back, mid back, and lower back. Seeing if you can get one vertebrae at a time coming down and aiming for that little bit of mobility between each vertebrae or each vertebral segment, and coming down like a wave, in a wave-like motion. So this movement, I will do as many as you feel that you need. It's such a nice movement for the back and for the front of the hips, as well as strengthening your glutes. If you wanted to make it a little bit more challenging, you can always go into a single leg bridge, or add weight or bands. Now I'm going to walking those feet together, again taking the knees to chest and making circles with the knees in opposite directions. Feet to the floor. Now dropping the knees out to the side. So this is Supta Baddha Konasana. We did this move before in seated, but now we're using gravity, and we're going to do a variation which doesn't have a yoga name, but this is called a froggy pump. So we're in Supta Baddha Konasana legs, and then you're going to push the feet together and raise the pelvis up. Now, this is really going to strengthen both your glutes and your hamstrings. So feeling yourself how close or far you want the feet away. If you have the feet more away, that's going to be more hamstrings. Closer in is more glutes. But you want to make sure you're not moving into your lower back and you're really feeling that in those muscles in the legs. You'll see that my hip is in line with my thigh, so I'm not going up too high here. Now bringing the knees together, just releasing any tension. Again with our gentle recline twist, knees together, ankles together. So I'm crossing the shins. I'm going to roll up to seated, but you can transition by just rolling to the other side and coming back. Now taking the body into an all fours position and just mobilizing the spine a bit more, moving through cat and cow. Now in cat and cow, it's really important to really press your hands into the floor, especially when you do the exhale, rounding the back. You're wanting to separate the shoulder blades, and then you're rolling the shoulders back, and then again on that inhale, you're going to push into the floor. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, shift back into Ardha Mukha Savasana, the downward facing dog. This is really to target now the back as well as the back of the legs. So you can bend one knee at a time to really work into your calves and the hamstrings. Now, if you are a regular runner, your postures or positions might not look the same as mine, and that's okay. It definitely, as I said, is flexibility and mobility is a work in progress.